Hello and welcome to Pastor Billy Joe Hillbilly's Tidbits, episode 22. Don't get mad. Please don't get mad. I'm going to touch on a topic I've rambled on about before. Shock! Isn't that a surprise? Talk about a one-trick pony. Anyway, like a one-verse Christian. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Well, yes, it's an important verse. Very, very important. I mean, it really is. I don't want to make light. But, are you the Christian that knows that verse and not any others? If so, you might want to read more. And I have a suggestion. Anyway, okay, so yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Big Bang Theory, not the sitcom, but the Big Bang Theory. The scientific theory of the origin of the universe. And then I'm going to explain, when I very briefly talk about that, I'm going to explain why I keep harping on this. And then we'll talk about some other stuff, I guess, or not. We'll go on to the next video. Anyway, the Big Bang Theory, for those that don't know, basically says that the universe is this big and expanding. Okay, so universe, not nearly as big as you would have expected, right? Don't say anything nasty. Don't. It's much smaller than I expected. Oh. If I don't split hell wide open, then nobody will. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, vulgar, filth, the smut. Anyway, I'm not going to say it because you already figured out in your head what I was going to say, and because you're smart. I can see it in your eyes. Anyway, so the Big Bang Theory says, okay, here's the universe, and it's expanding. So if we go in reverse, which will be backwards through time, then it's going in the other direction. It's contracting down to this, oh, goodness knows how large, this ball of matter, energy / whatever the heck it was. And it was around 13.8 billion years ago, give or take. Plus or minus a few million, whatever. Let's narrow it down just a little. But anyway, okay, I'm trying to be funny. So really the basic piece of the theory, and it is called the Big Bang Theory, not the Big Bang Fact. It just basically says we're looking at the universe, and as we see it now, we recognize or realize or, can see with our equipment that it is expanding, and the universe is expanding. So we're going backwards and it's contracting. And if we go back 13.8 billion years, it's as compact as it could be. And at that point, if we go back in time, 13.8 billion years, give or take, then there was this explosion outward that was the creation of the universe. And even though it in no way, this theory does not in any way address where that came from or what caused it, or I should say who, I guess maybe, because if matter and energy and time all began at that point, then the universe had a beginning. If it didn't have a beginning, then that would say that it's existed for all of eternity, which would mean that the universe is infinitely old, and that makes absolutely no sense, because as everyone can probably understand, regardless of your degree or lack thereof, is that things run down, things fall apart. We're all moving toward absolute zero with no motion, it's just going to collapse without, God keeping it together. Things will fall apart if God doesn't choose to intervene. But anyway, so the Big Bang Theory just says, hey, we go back and it was one, thing, and just boom, it exploded outward. Woohoo! Doesn't say how that thing came to be. It doesn't say what caused it to expand in the first place. Or maybe it does, but it just doesn't say how it began. It just said, it began. And the reason I harp on this, the reason I beat this with a stick, this is a dead horse that I am continuing to whoop up on. So if you can just say, well, it just happened, then it's just a whole lot easier to say, well, there's no God because the universe just happened. How is that an explanation? It happened. So you see, if you just take science, if you just say, well, they're smarter than me, they went to school, whatever, and say, well, they said it just started. So I guess there has to be a God if the universe just started by itself. So it's just a whole lot easier to say there's no God because the universe just came into being. Which, wow, what kind of wave your hands over it kind of magic is that? Don't pay attention to what I'm doing behind my back. Okay, anyway. It just happened. It was 13.8 billion years ago. Wow. Sorts of crazy magical things were happening 13.8 billion years ago. Of course, I wasn't here. I could ask Mom, but no. So hateful. I'd sneak some ugly in there somewhere. You knew I would. But see, what I really want people to think about for just a minute, and I mean really stop and think about this. This isn't me trying to be funny or whatever. I'm trying to make a point here. I know I'll never get there. You know too. You know I won't. For just a moment. Forget what your teacher told you in school. Forget, you're in, junior high, science class, and your teacher says, well, this is how it is, and you thought they sounded like they knew what they were talking about, and so you just kind of accepted it. I mean, they went to school, and you're just a kid, and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But just for a moment, forget it. Just don't even pay any attention whatsoever to these, the Big Bang Theory, and and sure, these people that have these, come up with this, these scientists, they're smart. I don't want to belittle. I mean, wow. But does that mean they know everything? Nope. Does that mean that they're right 100% of the time? No. Does that mean that you, as an uneducated, hillbilly, as an uneducated hillbilly, does that mean that you can't know something that they don't, or understand something in a way that they don't, or maybe even can't? So for just a minute, don't Don't worry about the fact that they have a degree and you don't, or whatever. Just don't think about it in those terms. Just think about this. Does it make sense to you? Is it logical in your mind that things just exploded into existence? Does that make sense? Does it make sense to you that there were amino acids or whatever the heck in this pond of goo that just happened to get together and become life? Life is not just chemicals in a... You don't take amino acids in a jar. Well, I don't know. I guess if an amino acid is alive, but I don't think an amino acid is alive. Scientists can't create life, right? No, they can't. They can't create life. Not from inert, inanimate, non-living materials. That's not how it works. And even if they could build something like a cell, they're not going to be able to assemble cells into a living thing that lives and breathes and whatever. I mean, does it make sense to you that everything just exploded into existence 13.8 billion years ago? Because it sure doesn't make sense to me. Again, I'm not the smartest person that's ever lived. Don't think I'm the dumbest. Although, I guess that's debatable. But anyway, so the Big Bang Theory doesn't address who or how everything started in the first place. Just that 13.8 billion years ago it happened to happen. So don't just take that and say, well, that must be it. There's smarter people than me. I don't know. So yeah, apparently. Idiot. Anyway, so just stop and ask yourself if it really makes sense. I mean, forget, this person had a degree, this person went to Yale, this person went to, don't forget, scientists thought the world was flat for a long time. They thought the sun revolved around the earth. I don't think just because we're smarter than we were that we're all-knowing. I don't think we've got it all figured out yet. I'm not sure we'll live long enough or exist as a race. I don't think humans will exist long enough to get it all figured out. So, just my 2 cents. Surely it's more than 2 cents. Inflation, guess it's less. Anyway, have a good day.